Hello, and welcome to another instructional video on the MiSTer FPGA system. This week we'll be covering the Vectrex core. Now, I should probably go in and explain what a Vectrex is. Vectrex, this is a Vectrex. What it is it's a video game system that uses a vector graphics monitor integrated into the system. So it's an all-in-one unit, and you just put the cartridges in like normal and play them. Now, what's special about a vector monitor? What's special about a vector monitor is that it does not draw the same way that a regular CRT does, where it draws the lines across. It draws lines across, and then it sort of forms a picture out of all that. What the vector monitor does is it draws it all in one line, kind of like a laser light show laser does. It's the technology is almost identical as far as the concept of how it goes and it does the beam, but it's slightly different, but it's very, very similar. It's a beam of electrons and not a beam of light. They become light when they hit the phosphor here. But it has a different look to it. It has a nice glow of the phosphor and that sort of thing, and it's really special and magical. And I don't think I've seen any of these in person running. I think I've seen some of these, but I don't think they were on. It's hard to remember sometimes, but I have seen asteroids and played asteroids at the vector graphics there, so I do know what vector graphics look like. It's just a specific Vectrex system I'm not too sure if I've seen, and they look gorgeous. They're really neat and they're special. And this picture here shows it a little bit better how it looks. It has this nice sort of glow around it, where it's not necessarily a crisp line because of the way it does. And you can adjust that too on the system, on the Vectrex system. How it is. This is neat where it's just sort of it's reflecting off of the inside of the cabinet here, and the bezel of the display, and it looks kind of neat, the way it's doing that sort of stuff. Just a really neat looking system. Now with the MiSTer, the only way you're going to get that is if you hook your MiSTer up to either a Vectrex monitor or some other vector graphics monitor. If you have one, good luck. But maybe some people do. You can do it, or an oscilloscope. You can just hook it up to oscilloscope. That might work. There's plans out there on the internet for how to do that, right? I don't have any of that fancy stuff. I just do the regular HDMI out, and unfortunately, that does not look as good. A regular CRT, you might be able to get it with some tweaking, and it might look a little bit better. Might look a little closer to this. Maybe it won't look the same. Regardless, I'm going to show you some stuff that looks neat. It's not like this, but it looks kind of neat and it's fun to play, and it's so I'll show you how to do that, how to set it up and get the best out of it that you can. And I'm going to show you a couple other emulators, just to show you a little difference of what's out there, if there's other things you like. At the moment, this channel is focused on the MiSTer, so the emulation stuff is it's more of a contrast and compare. But I do want to show you kind of how the magic is and show you, what it looks like. So that's that. Let's kind of get into it. What you want to do is place the overlays in the same folder with the same name as the ROM, only extension is OVR, and it will load it automatically. That's pretty nice. Now, if you have done your update all, like I explained in the first video in this playlist, which I will have linked below and at the end of the video in one of the cards, how to do it, you do your update all, it brings down the overlays. So the basic set of the overlays that come with for the games that were commercially released for it back in the day, you have those. If you go out and find some other homebrews or something that have their own overlays, you'll have to obtain them from, the maker of the game, the homebrewer, and install those the same way. And I have a few homebrews that I can show you, but they aren't. I don't have any overlays for them. So we'll take a look at those. We're going to get into this. This also did have a 3D system, which unfortunately does not work on the MiSTer. I believe it was like a color wheel thing, and it sort of it alternated still, I think. Not like the same as shutter glasses, but it did a sort of alternate thing where it was displaying stuff with color somehow, but obviously this is black and white, so I don't know how it worked. Be interesting to research, but since the MiSTer doesn't emulate it, there's not much point in going over how it worked for the purposes of playing games on your MiSTer. So that's one thing that hopefully they'll um, add into the core at some point. You know, you never know, but that's a a to be done thing. So that's that. So let's get some games copied over, okay? And at this time, I should ask you to like and subscribe if you're so inclined. Hit the notification bell if that's your thing. If you're interested in these videos and want to be reminded, I don't post a whole lot, so it's not very, um, you won't get nagged all the time by the notifications. But you know, um, that's only if you're interested and you're worried about missing a video or something like that. But if you're not, that's fine. I do these as a service. It's a community service type thing that I'm doing. So uh, spread the videos for people that need them. It'd be great. I'm trying to assist people and have this information out there for people to help them set up their systems, and that's the reason I'm doing it. And so share it out for people. I really like comments a lot. If you put a comment in below and let me know if it's helping you, because that gives me more motivation to do these videos. But whatever. I'm glad you're watching it. Okay, so let us do WinSCP as what I use. Just fire that up here. And that's what I use to copy over the files to the MiSTer. You can use whatever uh, SFTP program you like. There are several others that work. Just you're gonna have to follow in, and if you're familiar with that one, then you know where to put the settings, and you set it up. I'll just tell you what the settings are, and you put them in the right place. So yeah, file protocol SFTP, port number 22, that's standard. Host name, that's going to be different. So depending on your system, most likely it'll be different. It may be a coincidence and it's the same. It may be similar to this. That would not be, it could be a 192.168. Those are very common. Based on how networking works. I'm not going to get into that. This is not a TCP/IP instruction video. But this is the IP. I'll show you. This is the IP that mine is. So I'll show you how to find what yours is. You put that one in, and that's what you put here, and then connect to it. And I do have another video that explains how to set up WinSCP for using with the MiSTer. So username is root. The default password is the number 1. Just it's the single digit 1. So let's log in. Boom, boom, boom. And if you've done your update all, like in my previous video, you'll get the overlays for it. So all the overlays are all right here. Now, to save time and make things simple and convenient, I have copied them over here. So I have like this 3D Crazy Coaster OVR and 3D Coaster VEC, which is the game. Now, the 3D ones are not going to work in the MiSTer, but I'll just copy them all over just to have them. And I got a couple of this is a homebrew one there, like for example, and then MineStorm. Now I've zipped this up just to show you that zips do work. You just want to have the overlay in there with the zip. So if you're really, really conscious of space or whatever, this is much smaller. See, it's only 26 versus this is like 760 or whatever. So, it does save you some space. I mean, it's still not a lot of space because they're like 720K or whatever it is. They're small, right? The games. But if you're, super space conscious, you can zip them up. It's not like the CDs. The CDs, you definitely want to be using CHDs on that, but I go over those in the CD ones. All right, so we're just going to hit upload, boom, upload it. It'll just take like a second. Well, more than a second, but a few seconds. 5, 10, something like that. It's a weird scroll down through thing. Okay, whatever. Anyway, they're all copied over, and we got this one. I'll show you that the zip works. And maybe I'll run some of these. Those are fun, like one button games. But that's it. It's copied over. Let's go over to the MiSTer system. All right, we're over on the MiSTer, and you want to know how to look up your IP address, or at least I'm going to tell you. If you already know how, you already know how. That's fine. 1 second here, sorry. My apologies. I dropped the controller. All right. So we go here, we go back, hit whatever you have configured as your back button, and then left. And that's your IP address. That's the quickest way to get to the IP address, and that you see matches what. So I have 192.168.0.105. Yours will likely be different, and whatever yours is, you need to put that in. Now it can change. It can be a little, depending on the way your router is set up. The IP address may change. It may be different. So if you're unable to connect to it, bring it up, bring up the screen, look at it, look at that IP address, and then put that in your SFTP program. So we're going to go back here. We're going to go to console. We're going to go all the way down to Vectrex. Boom, start it up. And there we go. That's a lot quieter. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. Now, MineStorm is built in. So that's why it came up. It doesn't have the overlay, though, because it's just built in, so it's not using the overlay ROM. So let's actually do that. Your ROMs are going to be called vec bin or ROM. They're all the same, so it doesn't matter. You load them the same. Everything is the same with that. Skip logo will skip that loading screen thing. I've not actually set that on to see, but that's what it does. You can play around with the phosphor persistence and stuff. That's going to make more of a difference and be more useful on a CRT or even maybe not so much on an actual vector monitor, but certainly on a CRT. So I usually don't mess with these at all. I can kind of show you what they do when there's overlays. Sometimes you have the joystick in a different port. Sometimes you need that, depending on what controller you're doing, that sort of thing. I guess there's a couple different CPU models. I don't know if there's any. I'm not aware of anything that's different as far as like a game that doesn't work with the other CPU or something. There may be. So that's something you'll want to check, and then maybe you'd want to switch. I think there's 2 models, 2, 1. And it'll reset, of course, when you change the CPU out. That's that. And you want the vectors with the color and all that fun stuff. So let me show you. Here is the core settings, the video processing. So I actually have a preset. I did pre-configure this because it was complicated. So this is a preset that I've made, and it's got some sharpness and scan filter, blah, 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 and with a shadow mask and an aperture grill and all that fun stuff. I will, I think I'll just lay out the settings in the description. That's probably the easiest way. Or I could, I have this as a preset file. I could include that file somewhere. I could load it up somewhere, like on best place to be put it on like archive.org and put it up there just so you could use it. There's probably other places you could find that preset. I'm not sure. It was just some settings I sort of found. It looks good. It's obviously not vector graphics because you can see there's sort of like more square pixely looking, but it looks good. So that's why I picked this one. Now there is a course specific preset. If you don't want to mess around with that, there is a Vectrex one. This is the Vectrex custom one that I made. This is the one that's built in. I mean, that looks good. It's nice. It's brighter than the other one that I have, and this looks fine. So you could use that one if you want. But I kind of like the way that this this other preset looks. So I use that one. But that other one's in there. You'll have the other one. You can load that one if you want. But it looks neat. It's again, it looks a little more. I don't know. Sort of stable. I don't know if stable's the right word, but smooth and uniform. Uniform. That's the word I'm looking for. Looks a little more uniform with that, I think. So what we want to do is we're going to load this, and we're going to load in. I'm going to show you how to load in MineStorm. See, it's there, and it should load in the overlay now. Boom. See? I think it looks sharp, like this, even though it's not really how vector graphics are supposed to look. It's good. It looks neat. I like it. So this is MineStorm. I'm gonna play a little bit of it just to show you. Actual gameplay. All right. Try to find the right button. I guess those are background stars or something. It looks weird. It's basically asteroids, right? This looks fun. I mean, fine. It's, fun. Yeah, it's just spitting out, like... So those are just, like, background stars, whatever. Where's the... There. Oh, wow. Okay, and there's not a lot of inertia like there is with asteroids, but that's how you move. This is a good game. This is perfect for vector graphics. There are several other games, lots of neat homebrews on the system, and there comes in the UFO to crush me. So that's that. I mean, that is pretty much it as far as setting up. You can play with these things. I mean, you can have, like, you can boost your phosphor persistence, and you can see how it sort of puts streaks. You know, I don't know. Pseudo color doesn't seem to do much. Oh, that's just picking a color. I don't know. You do overburn. It doesn't look that good on the C, but you got those little dots. It just looks a little different. I don't, like that. So we just do this. These are the normal scaling things that you can see on any core. That's it. You can also manually load the overlay. So if you loaded it up and you wanted to manually load the overlay for, MineStorm, and it was coming up, you can just go down here and, like, actually, you can load the overlay through here. And that's the overlay. It's loading up, but it'll restart when it loads that. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. This makes it always white instead of tinted with the overlay. This makes the overlay, it doesn't have that effect. This is more realistic to what it looks like. Tint vector white. Oh yeah, so it slightly tints it because whatever. I don't know. You can mess with those as you add to your preferences. Yeah, I'm not gonna save the settings, but you can save the settings when you. But all these settings were like the defaults. The only thing I did was I added the preset in here. You can also just turn it off, and that's the way it is normally. I think. Well, no, there's still some effects. Video processing. Yeah, so I don't know. Oh, the shadow effects is probably yeah. Change that to none. That's for you. Anyway, you can do that. Oh, here, reset the defaults. And that's the defaults, which, this doesn't look bad either. But it just does not look the same as the nice, yeah. I do, even though, it makes it a little darker. Whoops. I prefer this preset. It's just, I don't know. Let's see. Let me just show you a couple other games just for the fun of it. There's some really neat homebrew ones. And there's been homebrew ones coming up since like 2000 or whatever. These are more recent. I think 99 people started making homebrews of these. And you just, it's one button, and you got to catch these guys. You get points for catching them. But the bombs, if you catch a bomb, it blows your, see, your little Ferris wheel thing. You know, and more bombs come down, it gets hard, and then when you run out of things, you can only go one direction. You cannot go backwards. And when you run out of little gondolas, you know, it's game over. You do get more of them, as you can see them coming back for catching guys. And it's very intense if you want to really like catch every single one and miss every single one and try to super control it and all that sort of thing. I'm gonna be dead here real soon. There, game over. 92, that's my score. So, you know, there are some fun games like that. So that's that. I'm going to show you some emulators. So one moment, please, while I cut over to the emulators. All right, here's a RetroArch. Now, I don't know how to load the overlays on RetroArch, but I just want to show you what it looks like. It's got a little bit of glow on it, a little bit of bloom. And you'll see that it looks a little bit different, a little bit better, I think. Grab the right controller here. They made this sort of an echoey sound. Not sure why, but that's what it is. You know, so that's how that looks. It's a little different. This is a little bit more, but you don't get that intense look. You do a little bit, but not quite the way it really looks on a real vector display. But it's a lot closer to it than how the MiSTer is. Right? And here comes he. There. See if I can get through level 1 at least, huh? And you can set turbos and stuff and all that in the emulator. I wanted to show you the settings I used. Let's see if I can do that. F1? All right. So in this, we go to core options. Just real quick, I'm going to show you. And is it core? No. Shaders. All right. So I added a shader, and I don't know how much different it is. I think it was a preset shaders. I'm using GLSL, but you could use whatever. And I picked, and I'm using this shader, this CRT guest DR Venom, Dr. Venom. I don't know. And that's the one I'm using. And then you go down here for the parameters. And the only thing I changed out of the default settings was the bloom. I think it's down here. These are all, yeah, see, the strength is 0, so it's not going to show you the slot mask stuff because those don't exist on vector monitors. And then I went down here in the bloom strength, and oh, it didn't save it. I put it to .40, 0.40. Okay. Let's go back in. How do I, where's like continue? What happened to continue? Oh, resume. Yeah, let's see, it's a little bloomy. I think it's a little bit more. Ooh, what's that? It's a level 2 thing. It's a four pointed thing instead of a 3 pointed thing. So that's that. That's the settings I use before. So it looks a little better, I think. This is, you know, closer to the original thing. Hopefully this is coming across good for you. I can't quite tell, but it should be. I can't quite tell in my little preview window. But that's pretty cool. Now I'm going to show you a different emulator that looks really, really nice, I think. Okay. So unfortunately, I'm unable to record the emulator while I'm going to record it. I can play the emulator fine just by itself, but while I'm trying to record, I can't do it on the same computer because my computer is not a super good one. So it's just too much for it the way I have it set. Um, I might be able to tweak the setting. I don't really want to because I want to record it in good quality. I was thinking I could lower the resolution or something, but that would mess it up because the whole, I'd have to re-encode and all that for the. So I'm not going to do that. I'll link to another video that has a really good um, showing of what this other emulator looks like. It's hard to it's Windows only, and it's probably not very future proof. It doesn't look like it's being updated anymore. It's like just this beta thing. It can be a little bit crashy, but it looks gorgeous. It gives you a good look. So if you just go watch this video, I'm gonna link at the end in the description. Then you can check it out and see what it looks like. That looks a little bit more realistic to how the Vectrex would actually look, I think, and it looks gorgeous. And I just kind of want you to know that, even though the MiSTer projecting to a um, HDMI thing, it is not, it isn't that as good as this. It works. You can play it, you can play the games, it's fun, but it just doesn't look, as nice. So I'll link to the video so that way you can at least get a nice look at what it looks like, a nice impression of it, I guess. So it's to see, kind of what could be done in theory, but it's not going to work with the MiSTer because it's a lot of horsepower to do this, and that's why it doesn't work when I try to record. So unfortunately, my current setup, I can't do that. But I'll link the video, as I've said several times already. But I'll link the video, and you can take a look there and just see what it is. It's being Windows only and not apparently being updated and how you get it and stuff. It's probably not ideal way to do it. I would prefer something more future proof, like the RetroArch I showed you. I'm not super good with the settings. There's main. I guess there's some other emulators that do good bloom effects and all that sort of stuff. But it's a little disappointing because it's just what kind of wanted to show you. But that's the way things go. So I hope that at least this video was at least somewhat entertaining or informational for you. Thank you very much for watching. I hope I'll see you on another video. Take care. Goodbye.